Ready? Live? All right. Howdy. Howdy. Oh, good afternoon. My name is Rodney Bain. Welcome to the final presentations of this Aggies Invent. We've had a great time this weekend as we've been going through it and applying different kinds of technologies to people with a certain amount of disabilities. We've had 10 teams and over almost 60 or so students involved in this entire weekend, 15 need statements. We've been graciously sponsored by Amazon Web Services, and they've turned in web services and allowed us to be able to work with them and helped our students really get engaged in the web service. We've also been sponsored by Train, who provided an additional $5,000 to help feed you during the weekend. You know, let's give them a good round of applause, right? So it's been great to have them as sponsors, and we've been working. We've had outstanding mentors throughout the entire weekend, and we've had a lot of fun. Some of the projects that y'all have come up with are truly amazing. I do not envy the judges their position in trying to determine which ones will be first, second, and third place, because I just don't know how they're going to be able to choose. However, choose they will, and we will announce a winner at the very end of the overall presentations. For those of you here, welcome. This has been a weekend packed full of a lot of different things. I told you from the very beginning of the weekend that it seemed like the entire weekend was not going to last 48 hours. It was going to last about 3. And you're correct. Everybody's nodding up and down. It did seem like it lasted about 3 hours. So there was a lot of activity here at the very end, just finishing everybody getting their presentations together. Thank you very much. And again, we're looking forward to seeing what y'all have put together. 10 minutes presentations, 90 seconds video. There's a timer in the back that will count down 10 minutes. When you get down to 0, I will stop your presentation mid-sentence. I've done it before, I'll do it again. And then the judges will get 5 minutes to ask questions, and then we'll move on to the next presentation. And that way we'll keep everybody along the lines. We'll take a break after 5. So after 5, we'll take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll move on to the next one after that piece of the presentation. For those of you online and who will view this presentation later, we welcome you, and we look forward to hearing any comments or anything like that that you have. So welcome, and we really enjoy. Now, without further ado, I'm going to ask our judges to introduce themselves to you because we have a panel of expert judges. And I'm going to start over here with Eric, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and make sure that you know who they are.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi.
I graduated from here in 1986, computer science and electrical engineering minor. I am a consultant. After that, I got an MBA in finance, so then got into the consulting field. Used to be a partner for Accenture, so did a lot of work with IT and implementations of different software.
Howdy.
Howdy.
I'm also an 86 grad from A&M. I have a double E degree. I've been a practicing patent lawyer for 25 years. I'm looking forward to the presentation.
And no intellectual property will be disclosed here. Sorry.
I'm Deborah Dandridge. I'm currently the IT Accessibility Coordinator for Texas A&M Engineering, and I have 2 advanced degrees from Texas A&M University.
Howdy, I'm Michael Leary. I'm graduated out of the College of Engineering a while back. I'm an associate director with the College of Engineering IT group, and I help do IT strategy and bring industry to various business units within the college.
Howdy.
Howdy.
I'm Jane Stevens. I'm one of the admin subject librarians.
And I want to tell you that Jane has been at almost every Aggies Invent that we have had from the very beginning. She has been an incredible supporter of everything that we've done. This is I think this is the 25th Aggies Invent that we have done over time. We had over 1,500 students involved in it. And so she has been here at almost every one of them. So I really give Jane a round of applause. She's a trooper, man. And the librarians have been here, and as I told you all in the very beginning on Friday, successful teams use all their resources, and the library services have been something that has really been an outstanding. All right, without further ado, I'm going to get off stage and introduce Team Carlisle. Y'all come on up here.
Howdy y'all, this is Team Carlisle. We're here to present you our solution, Your Day. My name is Evan Murray. I'm a junior biomedical engineering major, and throughout this process I helped mostly on taking Fitbit data and using the API to extract that data into our system.
Howdy, I'm Logan Miller. I am a junior biomedical engineering major, and I help mainly with the Plexi system, which will be explained more in later sections of the slide, and just help integrating with AWS and Alexa skill set.
Howdy, my name is Abby Roth. I'm also a junior biomedical engineering major, and I was the video specialist for Your Day.
Hi, I'm Courtney Schroep, and I am also a junior biomedical engineering major, and I helped with collecting the heart rate data from the Fitbit, collecting research about cognitive disorders with the help of our lovely librarians, and as well as putting together our presentation today.
And howdy, my name is Erica Hall. I'm a sophomore industrial engineering major, little switch around. And I got to also help with the presentation today. But more importantly, I got to work with these 4 individuals to take this idea that I've actually had for years and get to implement it in these past 48 hours. So over the past many years of my life, I have had the opportunity to work with kids with autism, and actually having a best friend that has autism growing up. And they have taught me such joy and how to live my life to the fullest, and I wanted to be able to give that back to them. So this is Your Day. It's our product, and I would like to show you a short clip about what we have created.
Brushing your teeth, making dinner with your family, playing games with friends. These simple tasks aren't so simple for the roughly 4 million Americans affected by cognitive disabilities.
Those diagnosed constantly rely on family members and caregivers to maintain a regular schedule. Recently, Troy Larson, a developer at Amazon, created Polexi, a combination of different Amazon Web Services that allows those on the autism spectrum to maintain a level of individuality while being able to complete daily tasks. This software was not only a work project for Troy, but a tool for his son Calvin, who is on the autism spectrum.
Please push the blue button. Good evening, Calvin. Do you want some pops? Come downstairs right now to the kitchen to get some pops.
However, Polexi doesn't account for the panic or anxiety attacks that can eventually lead to the complete debilitation of the user, sometimes for hours on end. Our product, Your Day, incorporates physiological cues, specifically heart rate, into Polexi to determine if the user is experiencing anxiety and cannot perform a task. If they are anxious, Alexa will provide a calming response such as dimming the lights or playing music in order to calm the user before redirecting them back to the task at hand. With this technology, we can tell users, yesterday was your caregiver's day, but today is your day.
So we had this statement, and we wanted to be able to help individuals that have cognitive disorders to be able to function every day without a caretaker. And more importantly, we wanted to be able to help them cope with stressful situations and help them be able to get out of that situation so they're able to continue on with their daily tasks. I found my inspiration for this whole 48-hour program through Jensen. He is one of the boys I had the privilege of babysitting. He is vibrant and is going to live an amazingly full life, but he's on the autism spectrum. I wanted to give him the opportunity to live that life independently without a parent or a caregiver watching him all the time. So we chose in these 48 hours to put our customer and base around those with autism and the autism community. However, we don't want to limit ourselves in the future. We also believe that our system can be in place to help those with Down syndrome, Alzheimer's, PTSD, and other mental health disorders.
So the main challenge that we wanted to address that we felt current technology wasn't addressing was this issue of anxiety that people with cognitive disorders can experience in new situations or challenging situations. And we realized that when a person is experiencing anxiety, they can't complete a schedule, they can't focus on maybe preparing a recipe or completing a task. So we wanted to address that situation and be able to address it in a way that was user specific, because each person responds and deals with stress in a different way. So our solution, Your Day, using our solution, Your Day, we wanted to fulfill our 3 design requirements, which was to be able to follow a schedule with our user and be able to identify when our user was experiencing anxiety or stress, and also being able to respond to that stress in a user-specific manner. This is all to ensure that our user is becoming more independent through our technology.
So our final solution actually incorporates already existing technology. So like we said, we're using the Polexi, the recently developed kind of service by Troy Larson mentioned in the video. It combines Polly, which is a text-to-speech service provided by Amazon, and also Lex, which is a speech recognition service. We actually utilize these products as well. So this is the Amazon button, the Echo, and then also a Fitbit for the heart rate measurements. So in addition to the Polexi service that we mentioned for the task management, we're also measuring the heart rate and the stress. So since the Fitbit is continuously measuring the heart rate, if there is a peak or if it increases a lot, then that signifies that the user is undergoing stress or panic, and then it will respond with sending that to Polexi. And Polexi will either, play a song, dim the lights, play a video, whatever is user specified to calm them down, whatever mechanism that they use, and then also, if necessary, they can alert the caregiver or caretaker.
So a little bit more of the back end of Polexi in our system is we first loaded the existing Polexi system onto a Raspberry Pi, which is a single board computer. We then connected that with our AWS services that were provided to us, and through the Lambda functionality of AWS, we were able to connect it to an Alexa skill set that we were able to set up that gives out user-defined responses based on whatever the user says into it, but then also can access a database that can give out our scheduled tasks throughout time. And then we also use the Fitbit data, heart rate, and through a Lambda function also are importing that into Polexi, which will allow us to continuously monitor for stress and give the response that needed based on the user. So a little bit more about the skill set is, like I said, we were able to create a list of user-defined kind of intents that will allow the user to say a certain phrase, and based on either the person that you selected, the task, or the kind of stress that they're going through, it'll go through and access the database, which is shown on the next slide, that is managed with the Dymo database. This is where all our information is stored, and through that, Alexa integrates with the Lambda function to help make this system uniform, where you can access it through voice, but then also through the Polexi side of the server as well. And as you can see, we also uploaded one of our graphs that show the heart rate data that we were able to retrieve from Fitbit through an API that we set up, so that could be integrated into our Polexi system and monitor for stress. And now here is a short demo of our system in action.
Courtney, please do the dishes. Hit the button to start the task. Courtney, I see your heart rate is elevated. I will play some of your favorite music. Have you completed the task, Courtney? Great job. You have completed the task.
.6 million people that are affected by cognitive disorders. We're hoping that within 5 years we would be able to capture about 20% of this market, and at a price point of about $465 per unit per system, and a small subscription fee for hosting data. We believe that in that 5-year span we'll be able to generate a gross revenue of about $400 million. Additionally, future growth that we'd like to see is further implementing the machine learning, help the machine understand what tasks agitate the user, or better ways to help calm them down, help develop the software and hardware more fully, and also open it up to larger markets outside of even cognitive disabilities. And then a special thanks lastly to Mr. Larson. He helped us a lot in implementing his Polexi system. We were actually able to reach out to him over Facebook, and he helped us download and understand the system much better.
Okay, thank you very much. Judges, you have about 5 minutes for questions.
So Courtney, I'm assuming she's not autistic?
No, so that's why we did a more just basic showing you what the system could do in a user that did have a cognitive disability.
Yeah, so I understand the functionality test. I was just wondering about proof of concept, about using a real, someone who, the person that you brought to the table, for example, who had autism. How would they actually respond to the system, I wondered?
So Troy Larson, the man who developed Polexi, the software that we actually used in our system, actually made this software for his son. And in the video at the beginning of our presentation, that was his son using the software.
Got it. Okay.
So it has been used with people with cognitive disabilities. We just didn't get to test it because of time constraints.
Okay, great.
So how is this product different from a calendar system?
A calendar system is unable to check where an individual's stress level is, and so our goal was to not to include that calendar, but also be able to help them get out of that stress situation and even go back and readjust the schedule so that they are still able to meet their tasks for the day without, with just an adjusted schedule for that stress.
So this seems to expand on Troy's work. What makes it unique from what he has already developed today?
So, I'll take. So we're really we're implementing the heart rate monitoring as an indication of stress. Is probably the most unique aspect of this design. Also, being a very new technology, Plexi isn't implemented very widespread yet. So just being able to use that and integrate it along with our heart rate monitoring and making that into a seamless kind of one system that can interact with each other to help, I guess, benefit those with cognitive disabilities.
One other question I had was regarding the use of the database there. It sounds like you're collecting some information. Have you guys looked into any HIPAA-related issues or possibly the data collection of individuals into that database and how you're going to handle that?
So Fitbit does collect the heart rate data and stores it into their cloud system right now, and we were it was kind of difficult because of those constraints to access that API and actually extract that data, but we were able to do that through a different personal kind of account with Fitbit. So it's really a manner, and also if that doesn't work, you can contact Fitbit in order to explain your purposes and what you're using the data that is collected for as well.
Thank you.
And then in the future, we would also make sure that any data that is related to biological signs is encrypted and like secure, so that not just like it couldn't get access, no one could access it with ease because it is personal data.
Thank you.
Well, was the use of these three other elements on the table your own as well, or are they part of the solution that you guys referenced before? So the Raspberry, for example, how did you use that?
So the Plexi system is based off the Raspberry Pi that uses a software called Serverless that allows it to help connect with the AWS cloud, and that's how it basically interfaces with all the different aspects of our system. So that was already set up, and then Troy Larson did use different Amazon products and buttons as kind of cues to help users complete defined tasks, but we went about adding on the solution of like managing stress, and then also taking it to the step where we can implement different solutions that will allow the stress levels of the individual based on our heart rate readings to be reduced. That way they can get back on their task and continue their day.
And upon more development, we're really interested in using the Amazon Web Services AI technology to actually learn about the user the longer the user uses it, so it can learn what the user likes to hear or see in response to stress, and possibly also learn about more indications of stress from the user.
So your $465 is a one-time purchase. What exactly is included in that $465?
Yes. So included in that $165 is
100 or 400?
Sorry, 400. Thank you. $465 includes everything on the table here, which is your Echo Dot, your button, your Raspberry Pi, a Fitbit that is we priced that at $150. It's actually there are lower piece devices, lower cost devices elsewhere. For the time being, we used Fitbit because it was one of the few devices that did have a Amazon skill already set up, so we could pull into the cloud or the Amazon AWS system. And so that is included all in it, as well as the ability to use Plexi and the Your Day technology.
And so the subscription fee would be like an ongoing monthly fee?
Yes, so the subscription fee is to help us as we are continuing to grow and learn about each individual. It will take more space in the cloud, and so being able to continue making sure your data is encrypted, as well as just having space so that it's a functioning running system, we need to be able to make sure there is money there. We need to be able to pay for that as a company. And the current caretaker for every day is far more than $465, even for just like 1 week. So this.
And so why do you think $465 plus a subscription fee is affordable?
So we understand that there are quite a few costs with having special needs. We are actually looking into working with an insurance company in order to help make it more available for those that aren't able to afford it right off the bat. We would also like to implement some sort of monthly installment fee to be able to pay for that instead of just one big $465 fee.
Okay, we're going to have to cut off the questions here. Thank you very much. Team with I-Team.
Give the judges just a second. Pause for a second. Breathe. Just breathe. Y'all will be just fine.
Aggie icebreaker, sorry, down.
It's been a long weekend.
You want me to sit up?
Ready to sleep?
Yeah.
At least we fed you very well, didn't we?
That's true.
It's okay. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, no, we're not going to place any beds in this. New building's not going to have beds either.
Rodney, I have
Yes.
a question.
Yes.
So get their need statement up front.
Can we match the need statement?
Yeah, so tell them what needs statement y'all are working on.
We're need statement number 5, and we're team 10.
So needs statement that we're starting on needs statement number 5.
It's not like having some working with them all weekend.
Okay. Y'all ready? Okay, take it away.
Visual impairment.
There are about 280 million visually impaired people in the world.
The central vision is sort of a blurred mishmash of colors that is indistinguishable.
In today's fast-paced society, it's hard to go about one's day without seeing a construction site nearby. We are ready to expand and modernize, but we fail to account for those who are negatively impacted by unexpected road closures and path obstructions.
But what if it didn't have to be that way? With our product iCane, we are returning to the visually impaired their freedom, independence, and really the comfort to live in a world that is constantly expanding, regardless of their disability. Through the use of embedded sensors and cameras, we are able to detect and identify objects and obstructions real-time and send feedback to the user to adjust their course. Turning situations like this into this. Never again say I can't, but say I can.
Howdy. We are Team 10 and our product is the iCane. With this information in mind, we decided to tackle on a very important challenge. The creation of a product that would help a visually impaired individual navigate through an open environment while simultaneously helping them avoid road signs, road obstructions, or any type of path obstructions.
I'm Yuri Castro. I'm a freshman in general engineering and I work on the software development.
My name is George Bose and I'm a junior in chemical engineering and I work on the software development and the microanalysis.
I'm Mohammed Alvi, a graduate subsea engineer. We work on sensor development and the microcontroller.
I'm Ray Santana. I'm a senior in electrical engineering, and I worked on the hardware development.
I'm Ricky Martinez, freshman, general engineering. I was video specialist and market research.
See, current canes are able to help a visually impaired person navigate within a narrow field of vision, but they fail to give them confidence, the ability to detect overhead objects, or to identify the type of object that it is. To get real-world input, we decided to talk to a visually impaired person here at Texas A&M. She told us about the challenges that she faces using the regular cane in stores. She told us how it's too heavy and it's unsanitary and it's unable to detect the type of object that it is. She also talked about things she would like to see implemented, things such as removable batteries, the different type of object that it is, the durability in the tip, and the just for it to come in a variety of colors. Today we'll give you an insight into our thought process. We'll talk about the design requirements, our alternative designs, our proposed solutions, our niche market, and our improvements.
We wanted our product to detect hazards such as curves, obstruction in the path, and give the feedback to the user to signify the direction. We wanted to use a wearable technology and provide it with the existing cane. So we come up with pre-designed a bracelet, we come up with a remote controllable virtual cane, and we come up with the actual cane, iCane, which is the best one. So what we did, we considered the familiarity with the cane of the user so that the user don't have to adjust with the new kind of product. The question that we want to answer to that, is it technically solution? Is it feasible? Is it usable? Does it sound technically sound? We also considered commercial feasibility and availability to the user.
For a proposed solution, we wanted to implement multiple sensors to be able to detect objects at low level, mid level, and high level. And we also implemented GoPro in conjunction with the AWS software and an Arduino to control the various components. And finally, we included a wheel at the tip to provide a tactile feedback to the user. These are some of their specifications that we want our product to meet, the most important being lightweight and a large detection range.
So on top of the sensors being able to detect objects and warn the user that there are objects in front of them, we are able to identify the object in front of the user. So using our code, here's a following demo that we used. So say that the user is walking on the path and encounters these signs. And these signs are triggered off by the sensors, and the camera will take the image. And in using the AWS recognition, it will be able to identify the objects inside of them and to read the text on the signs. And using Poly, the user will receive an audio feedback telling them what they are encountering. And here's the following feedback.
The objects detected are field, grassland, mound, outdoors, and the text detected are danger, pathway, closed, notice, coyotes, frequent.
Now, doing the current market analysis and our competitive scenario, we have identified three main competitors. First one being the Ultra Cane, second one being the Smart Cane, and the third one being a service dog. Now, the Ultra Cane and the Smart Cane are similar types of technology which utilizes the ultrasound sensors and a vibration model to tell the user of any objects in front of the user. What these products or technologies fail to identify is any overhanging objects or to give a real-time feedback to the user to identifying what signs or objects there is. In a research conducted by Curtin University, they have identified the single most reason that the Ultra Cane failed in 2004 was that it couldn't provide a feedback and it prioritized too much on its near field vision. Keeping that in mind and doing the market analysis, we have found out that our manufacturing cost is at $120. And we have modeled and proposed the price of our technology and iCane to be $200. We believe that the price that we have is perfect because the users are willing to pay for more advanced technology that's going to help them identify curves and objects and give them in real-time feedback of what they're going to face in front. And also, our technology, since it's using a GoPro, it is more easily applicable to overhanging objects and can detect it seamlessly.
Now, although these competitors exist, our product is way more unique given our 3 lines of defense: AWS, sensors, and mechanical feedback, giving us a wider field of vision than anything out there on the market. Now, given like any medically related device, our market is a niche market. According to the World Health Organization in 2017, approximately 253 million people in the world suffer from visual impairment, and 40 million of those are totally blind. Our goal is to target 10% of those who are totally blind. Given our scalability and the fact that 50% of our costs come from camera integration, once our product progresses, we can focus on bulk development and lower our costs to meet the needs of not only those who are totally blind, but those who suffer from partial disability. Moving forward, now given that we wanted to integrate Bluetooth technology and mechanical learning, deep learning into our system, it wasn't in it today, but we wanted to integrate that into our product in the future to relay data in real time, allowing us to detect faces, objects, and signs. Now, given our potential, we believe we can not only meet the needs of those who are visually impaired, but give them back their dignity, their freedom, and their independence. Remember, don't say, "I can't," but say,
I can.
"I can." Thank you so much.
5 minutes for questions. Go ahead, Jane.
What did you say about the tip?
Oh, so you told us how you didn't like that when the handle, when she folded her cane, the handle would touch the tip, and when you go into a public restroom.
Oh, you mean when you
that's
fold it?
Yeah.
But you said something else about the
The
tip.
mechanical feedback, yeah.
You get feedback from the tip itself?
Yeah, so if you're, in somehow cases, a sensor fails, so we have a mechanical tip to give tactile feedback. If there's an inclination in the road, some kind of a path, or any kind of hole, or crack, in which like there are cracks on the college roads, so the tip is big enough to detect the crack, and it will distort from the position that the user is using it. So it's gonna signify the user give the feedback. The road is uneven, so she has to be careful and watching her next step and while walking forward.
And the tip's going to wear out, though.
So that's what we did.
So the solution that we did was that instead of having a fixed tip, which is more applicable, which is more wearable, we have used a rotating tip, which will wear out, but then it's gonna wear out. It's not gonna wear out just like that. It is like more durable. It's more durable.
We have a tire grip on the tip, so it's not. We have a rubber grip, so you don't have to exchange the hip costly tip. You just have to change the rubber grip which you want to use, because you don't want to get into using that same tip again if that wears out at some part and it get dirty. So you can change a rubber tip which is gonna be in the market for $1 or $2.
So does your prototype actually work?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to show it?
Sure.
While he's getting that ready there, have you broken down the cost, or do you know the cost of the AWS services per user at this point for your device?
So the current AWS services that we use.
So right now it's like detecting the table.
Yeah.
So that detected the table over there. So someone is moving with this. So this sensor, these ultrasonic sensors which we have lower resolution of these sensors for now. That's why it's sending the pulse and receiving the time lag of that pulse. So if we go, you see, as you approach towards the object, the sound is going to increase.
Does it require someone to slow down in their normal pace of walking, or are they gonna walk normally? Will that catch it? with
Yeah,
normal?
like that's we encountered with the problem with, like if you're walking towards, the two people are walking towards each other. So what's gonna happen, it's gonna do like relative distance. It's gonna calculate the relative distance as you are walking it, and it's gonna divide the duration divided by 2 because 2 people are walking. So when you go out there and increase the pace of the tone, is gonna increase, and you see the object overhead distance. We have, like, if a person is 6 feet and using the cane, you have a mechanical feedback over here, so you can actually use it. That's the overhead object is over there, so you can actually. So it goes slow down when you go back.
So Jane, for example, is about 5'4", 5'5". This is kind of long for her.
So that's like a prototype that we have come up with. That's not a standard cane. That is the best part of a cane, that we can we provide it not on the cane, but you can adjust the system with the user interface. The user can adjust the cane sensors according to herself.
So other entities have tried technology like this and have not successfully completed or brought something to market because it was unwieldy or because it was inaccurate. So how have you overcome this?
We have overcome that solution with a better sensor resolution. The sensor resolution that we have is a 3mm sensor resolution. So the accuracy is not good. Plus the controller we are using has a 32-bit of the memory log. So that is, we need a better memory log and a camera. So everything is, we're gonna use more advanced processor. The processor over here is 80 mega 8, which is have 8-bit memory log in the processor, but controller has a different size. So that's the problem we are facing it.
So did you have a visually impaired person test this out?
No, we haven't.
Because of time constraint.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's the last of the questions. Thank you very much. Aggie Eyes is the next team. Give the judges a few seconds, a few minutes. Y'all get a chance to breathe for a second, right? Okay. Oh yeah. You get a chance to breathe. So we're gonna give the judges just a second to answer. Move forward. Of course, it's always fun. You always have to have fun. Remember? Judges also know what needs to y'all ready?
So my score is not submitting. I don't know why not. Yeah, it did I miss something?
All right, guys, take it away.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Well, guys, we're Aggie Eyes. We're going to present a wearable technology that can improve the life of visually impaired people.
So which need statement are you?
We're reading number 8.
Number 8?
Number 8.
Skipper. I'm a mechanical and manufacturing engineering technology major, pursuing the Inventier Fellow program.
Howdy, I'm Sudipta Das. I'm a graduate student in MIS department.
Howdy, my name is Derek Lee and I'm a sophomore electrical engineering major.
Howdy, my name is Carolina Serrano. I'm a freshman engineering major and I have a preference for chemical engineering.
Howdy all, I'm Gopi Krishna. I'm a graduate student from Management Information Systems from Mays Business School.
Imagine a world where visually impaired people are not impaired anymore. A world where they don't have to rely on anybody to order food at a restaurant, read an official document, or use money. According to the National Federation of the Blind, 32.4 million people in the world are visually impaired, and only 10% of them read Braille. In particular, around 1.3 million people in the US suffer from blindness. Finally, research supports that 70% of visually impaired people experience depression or dejection because they can't perform normal activities and depend on others. This is an issue that is very close to us, because Texas is one of the states with the highest population of people who suffer from blindness. If we had a method to improve the way visually impaired people read, we could really improve their quality of life and reduce the psychological effects that suffering from blindness may cause. This is where Aggie Eyes comes in. We have developed a wearable device comprised of a glove and AI technology that has the capability of scanning a physical document, extracting text, and allowing the user to browse its content. One of the main issues with currently available assistive technology is that it only reads out the entire document at once, and there's no way to go back to specific settings. Our device takes audio input from the user and utilizes Amazon Web Services transcribed and recognition to identify the part of interest. This allows the seamless integration of user inputs with the device to make communication easier and allow them to obtain the information they were looking for. Our device is the means to enrich visually impaired people's lives, making them more independent and perform day-to-day tasks with ease.
The girl was handed out with a paper that could be life-changing. It was a cornea transplant approval, and she couldn't read the document herself. She relied on somebody else. That is a good case scenario. What if it was a document that told her she had a disease? She would have to rely on somebody else for her to understand that she has a disease, and that will bring privacy issues. She will not be able to know that, and that's something that affects her personally. That's the problem that we're trying to solve here with the wearable device that we've developed.
Individuals with visual impairments go through many difficult scenarios on a daily basis. Some of those include reading a menu at your favorite restaurant or a restaurant you've never been at, reading a handout given to you at a meeting, or even counting your money. Our goal is to make these difficulties not a problem anymore.
So we came up with 5 design requirements. The first one is that our device must be able to translate text from English. The second one is that our system or our device must be lighter than 3 pounds. Also, our device must be able to communicate with cellular devices. And number 4, our device must be able to verbally talk to the user. And number 5, it has to be able to hold 3 hours of usage and 8 hours of standby time.
We've actually come up with 4 design alternatives for the product, which are 1, emulate, a glove, a belt and a retractable card, and shades. And then we have chosen one of the designs for the product. We didn't choose emulate because it's heavy on the neck, and then we didn't choose belt and the retractable card because a user must not wear the belt all the time. Same is the case with the shades. So finally we've actually chosen gloves because it's easy to use and actually makes interaction very easy. And then normally we use hands for day-to-day activities. That's why we have chosen gloves.
Also, for all of our parts for our device, we need obviously the glove, but also an Arduino, a camera module, a battery pack, and a wire antenna. The total cost for all of the parts would be around $110.83.
So the scenario I gave earlier was a person walking into a new restaurant. Our device would scan the entire menu and would read out the headers such as burgers, handhelds, favorites. The user would then be able to communicate with the device and ask for more information on the burgers. Alexa, scan the menu.
Starters, burgers, handheld, soup, salad, favorites.
After being told what is on the menu, you would be able to talk to Alexa and ask for more information on the burgers or whatever it is that you're wanting to order. It would then read out the individual names and you would be able to make your decision.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Howdy, this is Aggie Eyes Gloves. As you can see, we have the glove with the Raspberry Pi and the camera module right under it. So what this can do is it can take intermittent video and take also still images, and with the switch we can control when to take video or photo. And so we can demo real quick a video. And so here you can see that we're able to look at our menu and be able to zoom in and out. And so the gloves also have open fingertips so that the user can continue to have feeling in his hand and be able to touch and sense.
So we have taken all the images from the glove and then transferred it to a device. After that, we're transferring the entire information to the cloud system, where it will compute the various processes, like it will recognize text, it will see patterns and stuff, and then relay the same information back to the mobile device. And from the mobile device, it will use Bluetooth audio to connect to the user. So in the next slide, like in the example we have given for the menu card, like it will detect text in the entire image document, and then it will send it to a file storage in the cloud, and later on it will, like the entire menu will be taken in snippet form. So all the text will be sent to a database which will be stored in the cloud storage. Now when I say Alexa handheld, so that is a search query. So now Alexa transforms that particular voice message into a text message and again transforms that to a database, and the search string is also stored in the database. Now with the search query and the entire text document, we are able to actually see the headers, see various key appearances, see the various patterns of words occurring in a document, also analyze a particular document, whether like how many words are happy, how many words are mixed emotions or stuff. Like we can do a lot of comprehension using Amazon Web Services, and later transform the information into an audio output and put it to the user's headset or a Bluetooth or through the gloves. Like it all depends on which Bluetooth technology will the user choose from.
Another case scenario in which it could work is if you're handed a document, the glove will be able to scan the text, and then if the user communicates with the glove, it will just look for the headers in which the user wants, and then it would start reading from there. So then that's like the key feature here, that it's able to look for specific parts of the text that the user wants. We also conducted a patent search in 3 specific parts, the USPTO, go to patents, and freepatents.com. There were basically 9 results in the first one, but it only focused on the electrosound cameras. The second one, it included Braille, and as we saw in the video, only 10% of the impaired people know how to read Braille. And finally, 3 patents included glasses design, and that's not very useful for people because not all of them wear glasses. So our design is
currently the technology that we have can read the documents of all the formats. So, but this can be extended to a scenario where a person goes outside the physical environment and to want to see the road signs, or if he wants to go to a restaurant and see the bills.
Okay,
of
thank
that
you
type, can be
very
extended
much.
to that.
We've had 10 minutes. Judges, now you got time for 5 minutes of questions.
So how long, I mean, To go from something as bulky that to something smaller is really truly more wearable, is that a huge leap in technology, or what do you have to do to make that happen?
So right now, we just have this improvised sort of battery, and it's just clunky right now because we don't have a connection on our Raspberry Pi right now to make that connection and make it smaller. But there's flexible battery outside that we can purchase in large mass scale, and it would make it so much cheaper and much easier and much smaller on hand.
Additionally, many of these aren't necessary, and we can use a much smaller board, so the size of this can reduce if we get the correct board.
So I have a question. When you were demonstrating on the menu, you were moving the glove around and saying, well, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you can move over to different parts of the menu.
Correct.
So again, you have an unsighted person, and how are you going to help them understand where the menu is, what the orientation, are they looking at the proper orientation, and how are they going to logically find the different sections of the menu?
Absolutely. So when we were going through that, one of our early tests was whether our technology would be able to transpose. So if it was in portrait, but it was supposed to be in landscape, we found that it would be able to either transpose it itself or notify the user that it needs to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Then on the point of not knowing where in space it was, by holding the paper they would get a confines of how big this menu was, and then as they're going over it, they know that burger is here and that fries is here. So it'd be a combination of knowing the size of the paper as well as getting feedback of where each part is.
So is this still conceptual, or did you actually make it work?
So there are parts of it that works. So our video feed works, and some of our software has been implemented.
Like we'll be able to detect the text, like not all the text has been able to be converted into like chunks. Some parts are missing, but like it's a machine learning trend, so it is learning on more data models, and it is becoming better by better day by day. So I believe that with coming time, it can be more efficient in its search for text in an image.
What is the overall cost of the solution then, the glove and as well as the Amazon service you plan to use per user?
So the total cost was $110.83.
And Amazon Web Services is actually pay as you go. So how much of instances or how much of storage are you using? So you'll be charged according to that usage. So it depends upon the user, how much the user wants to use Amazon Web Services. So I believe for S3 it is really cheap, and like it's a very economical situation to create this product.
Is the 110 what it costs to make, or what you want to sell it for?
That's the
cost. The cost.
The what?
The cost.
To make the product.
To
yeah.
make
To make the product. Yeah.
And how does the device know what is a header and what is?
So actually in the coding function there is a text detection statement which actually has the header size, the footer size. So if we give the header and the footer size to the particular code, it will actually detect that it is a heading or a footer. Like it will actually analyze every text in the document and sort it accordingly.
So in short, it looks at the text surrounding it, compares their sizes, as well as the ability to introduce fonts if your font is different as well.
Also through Amazon Translate, we can also check for different languages in the document, transform them to English, and again put them back to the user in English.
How does it access the Amazon services? Through the Bluetooth connection to your phone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We have an application on the phone that transfers the images to the AWS.
What about just using an old iPhone or an old phone that has a camera, you got the processing power, and just having a device with the phone on the bottom of your hand? Have you thought about doing that?
Yeah, so the needs statement included that it had to be a wearable device. So we did think about that, but well, the next statement was that it had to be a wearable device. So that's what we came up with the glove, that it would be handheld.
So if the camera has a Wi-Fi inbuilt, and if a small processing power is actually installed in the glove, it's actually possible directly to talk directly to the AWS, not the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just included a phone so that they always have a form of
And the battery life also, like when it is actually talking to the phone, the battery of the glove is intact, right? I mean,
gotcha.
So do you have a search function integrated, like a
Yes, so
keyword search?
actually, like we are putting back the database, and when the search query becomes from voice to text, it will add that into the database. and then use that as a keyword capture, and we'll sort the entire text document and we'll find that particular text and reread that entire block of text to the user.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Next theme is text to speech. We're signed to speech. I'm sorry. Speech is not very. That's not very.
So we're problem statement 1.
Oh, thank you.
Group
Team number 7.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the, which needs to
Number 1.
Number 7.
They don't know it. That's just checking stuff out. That's for us. Back office process. You'll need to speak up more.
All right, so y'all project. People had a hard time there. And let me know, Jane. That Deborah, it didn't work. It didn't work again now. Because what? It's taking a while to submit. It did finally submit. I don't know if there's anything. Are y'all ready? All right, take it away.
Howdy. My name is Eliza Hassan. This is Catherine Gray, Fred Garcia, David Salinas, Zaina Boss, and Giovanni Neri, and we are Sign to Speech. We hope you enjoy our video.
Imagine this. You're an employee at a store or restaurant and a patron comes in who communicates using American Sign Language, also known as ASL. How do you communicate with them to provide better customer service? Do you have them type out their requests on their phone, point to what they want, or communicate through broken, rudimentary signs? According to the World Health Organization, by 2050, approximately 900 million people will develop significant hearing loss. What can we do to address this issue? We present to you Sign to Speech. Sign to Speech utilizes AWS Deep Lens and the onboard deep learning capabilities to recognize the motions and facial expressions used in ASL and other sign languages. This is then interpreted into English, which is sent to your computer, tablet, or phone as text and audio. This method allows for a more natural flow of communication between those who use sign language and those who do not. Join us in helping the world become a more inclusive place.
Now that you've seen what we're all about, we will start by introducing you to our thought process and our design process as we identified our requirements, developed a few solutions, and eventually how we're going to implement this in the future. Next up is Catherine with our needs statement.
So our needs statement centered around American Sign Language, also known as ASL. ASL is its own fully formed language that has its own syntax and vocabulary, and it's not just a direct translation of English. The most important parts of ASL are the hand gestures, where your hands are in relation to the rest of your body, and especially facial expression. So overall, there's no existing technology that is capable of translating ASL other than a human interpreter or someone who knows sign language. To further understand our needs, we performed some consumer research, and we found that of the technologies that people have tried to implement previously for this solution, these technologies have failed to take into account the desires and the needs of the deaf people in the deaf community that would be the beneficiaries of this technology. Many of the existing technologies place the burden on the deaf person or hard of hearing person to put forward most of the effort to accommodate the hearing person rather than making sure that both parties are equally represented. So overall, our design strives for cultural sensitivity and meeting the needs of all users. Next up, we started developing design requirements for our specific solution.
In order for our design to work as intended, we came up with 5 system requirements. The first 3 system requirements have to do with the inputs that we get: facial expression, finger spelling, and hand gestures. It has to recognize those inputs. After it recognizes it, it has to interpret them and convert it to English. After that, it has to convert it into a text file. And also, we require 0 latency in order for people to converse seamlessly. And the 5th system requirement is turning the text files into speech. And with these 5 system requirements, we actually came up with 3 concepts that David will talk about.
Whenever we brought forward concepts, we're trying to incorporate the best of mechanical and other different technologies that have been put forward in order to come to the best solution we could possibly could. We developed 3 ideas. The first idea implemented the Amazon Web Services deep lens to kind of recognize face patterns and sign patterns that people using American Sign Language use and translate them using Amazon Web Services into written or audio English. Our second concept used a mechanical glove, which translated American Sign Language alphabet into different type of designs. And our third concept used the Microsoft HoloLens or a similar augmented reality or virtual reality design in order to recognize different face patterns or motion patterns using American Sign Language. Naturally, we settled for the first concept using the Amazon ASW deep lens.
So as you can see, we implemented a Java function that works with any modern webcam on any computer, and it detects hand motions along with facial motions. And this can go on any modern day computer, any webcam really. And then we also experimented with the deep lens and got to be able to detect different objects very accurately. And the best thing about the deep lens is that you can actually implement deep learning modules and deep learning models and get to constantly learn on its own. So in the future, we want to implement a deep lens software where it will learn and then interpret all the hand motions, facial expressions, and spatial cues and turn it to text, which will go to any mobile or computer application. And then way down in the future, we want the text application to be able to go to speech. And as you know, it doesn't matter with all the technical details unless you have a market niche, which in our case, fortunately, we do.
So to better build our market niche, we needed to reach out to the deaf and hard of hearing community. So we reached out and asked them what a product like this would mean to them. Basically, we found that it would revolutionize the way they live, the way they communicate and interact with the world as a whole. So some of the ideas we got is we can implement this tool in educational scenarios, in hospitals, with first responders, and basically any interaction that you would have to obtain vital information. It would give us a better way to make the language and communication more equal amongst everybody. So we looked at some of the existing technologies and figured the glove doesn't really recognize facial expressions, which is about 50 to 70% of the contextual information when you're understanding ASL. Human interpreters are great, but they come at a great cost, and you don't really get the text or even speech sometimes with that. So we wanted to go with the video, which currently doesn't have the technology to be real time and grab the eye contact and facial expressions that are needed for ASL. And that's where our device comes into play. So we figured with all the costs in mind that we can set our unit at $500. And initially, we would market to a small niche of, like I said, educational institutions and hospitals, maybe first responders, and use that $500 to pay for the system itself and 2 years of AWS services and maintenance. After 2 years, we would need to upgrade, or we can change the software to include more signs or other languages. We figured with the ability to mass produce and maybe even reach a greater audience through changing ADA regulations, we could probably target about 50 million customers. Selling at $500, we could make $2.5 billion and make a profit within 10 years of $25 million or $250 million. Sorry. So that leads us to the next steps.
All in all, our technology currently, we've only talked about taking the sign language and converting it into text and converting that into speech. However, again, this is something that benefits the hearing person in the conversation and not necessarily the hard of hearing. And so what happens is that we would like to develop our technology even further to go into recording speech and turning that into text and having that text be able to go through some sort of GUI that can then perform the sign language back to the ASL user. In this way, we feel that our solution is going to help society become more inclusive at the end of the day. That concludes our presentation, and we will now take any questions.
You have 5 minutes.
Who ends up buying this product? You gave a brief description of an interaction in a restaurant. Is it target a business that's interacting, or can you describe what that looks like?
So overall, it could really be used in any sort of context that there's a conversation between a person who uses sign language and a person who does not. We considered the restaurants and the retail services because of the compact nature of the deep lens, that it could be something that would sit on a counter and be relatively unobtrusive. In terms of in an education setting, it could be used for a student who uses sign language to be able to comfortably ask a question to a teacher by signing in range of the camera, and then that would then translate it and send the question to the teacher. In terms of EMS,
and so who are you marketing to? Are you marketing to the person who's hearing impaired, or are you marketing to someone else?
We are marketing to the hearing population. That many of the gloves and the things that have currently been tried to be implemented, they are the responsibility of the hearing impaired person to carry around the glove or wear it or whatever. But if the hearing population adopts this, then they can have it for whenever it's needed, and the deaf person can more or less just go about their lives, and this is available when it's needed.
So I understand that the Amazon Deep Lens is a product in itself. What is the actual product then that I'm investing in, or at this point, or that I'm actually using? Right? Is it a program, an app, or a physical device?
Right. So the great thing about the Deep Lens is, like you said, it is a device on its own. It connects to the internet, it has its own services. And again, the best part is you can put all the neural networks and everything on it. So yeah, the application most likely will be free, but the device with all the software on it, all the deep models already learned, and all the application would be really the bulk of the $500.
And the service.
Is this actually functional? Is this functional? Does it work?
The deep lens is not functional. We were not able to make it functional at the time constraints of this weekend.
Currently, the deep lens can detect different objects, different hand, and give you accurately what the object is. But in terms of actually converting to text, that would be just due to the time constraint. We wouldn't able to.
So did you get your coding done, though, for it to do the hand gesture recognition in combination with the facial recognition?
We were able to recognize certain objects, like for instance a hand or a human or a cup, but the ability to be able to see and recognize and interpret all of the various gestures and facial movements, especially even if you're finger signing, we haven't got to that point yet. From the code that we have right now.
Is it feasible? Can you do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
If we can take a basic webcam that is on any laptop currently and be able to put, like, say, a little ring around your palm and dots on your fingers and be able to track that motion that's going on, imagine with something as smart as an Amazon Deep Lens, how if you integrate that into this, it can be completely feasible.
What's unique about the camera? Is there anything different about the camera other than it connects to the internet, right? The Deep Lens
It's the whole machine learning AI aspect of it. On a regular camera, you can't, implement neural models. You need a machine that is compatible with it, and that's really the big selling point with the deep lens, that you can do all these different projects because you can implement all these different algorithms. And so when you have, as more users are going to use it, it's going to get more accurate, more precise on its output, on its text output.
And so I need to carry that around with me.
In terms of, are you the hearing impaired, or are you the hearing?
I am hearing able.
Hearing able. So let's say an event like this, somebody needed to ask a question, they could sign it to that, and we would get a speech output. So more like we were talking about schools and different event locations, that would be really her niche.
Okay, thank you very much. The next team is Raising Cane.
Y'all need to speak up. Everybody needs to speak up. Remember I said, try to get your voice to get back. Just speak up, particularly over here.
Howdy.
Wait. Gotta make sure the judges are ready. When you're anxious, ready for you, take a breath. It's okay. Just calm down. We'll get you there.
Is it possible for you guys to move so I can see the video here? Thank you.
There you go. We're gonna go on. I don't think you're. All right, take it away.
All right, howdy.
Howdy.
Our company is Raising Canes, and we're going to start you off with a short video.
So which need statement are you addressing?
Number 6. Imagine living your life in darkness, or not even being able to see what's 2 feet in front of you. The World Health Organization notes that an estimated 253 million people live with visual impairment. Additionally, 6.5 million people worldwide use assistive devices such as canes to navigate the world. Visual impairment affects all types of people from all walks of life.
Assistive technology is advancing every day, but with that comes numerous difficulties for those who use it. Take for instance one story about a man who often leaves his cane behind after social events.
Oh no, he's lost his cane. Now how will he get around?
Introducing our new product, Hurricane. When developing this product, we made it our mission to keep it trackable, lightweight, and assistive in case of emergencies. Our product includes a wristband cane system, so you can be automatically notified if you are more than 10 feet away from your cane. Additionally, LED lights will flash and catch the attention of a passerby in case you are in danger.
Our
vision is to help people affected by visual impairment in locating their misplaced canes and to make their lives secure, easier, and more enjoyable.
Raising Canes, defining the next generation in assistive technology.
Hi, my name is Aishani Day, and I'm a freshman chemical engineer major. I was in charge of fabrication and video production in this project.
My name is Justice Morales. I'm a freshman aerospace engineer, and I was mostly in charge of the co-production of the video and program.
My name is Patrick Zajac. I'm a freshman mechanical engineer, and I help with fabrication and LED lights.
Howdy, my name is Rhea, and I'm a junior computer science major, and I worked on the programming for this project.
Howdy, my name is Leonel Alvarado, and I'm a graduate student in mechanical engineering, and I help with the graphics and the videos.
Alright, so diving right into it, let's say for instance you have a son or a daughter who is visually impaired. They go to school every day taking an assistive cane, and chances are, they're a child, they could possibly lose it. Our need statement is to integrate features to a cane in order to make it less susceptible to losing it or misplacing it anywhere. So our target audience is mostly visually impaired people, specifically those with severe visual impairment. Here we have some demographics about people that have visual disability. We have about 7 million people in the United States. And as we can see, people from all types of ethnicities are affected by this. And as we address this need, we can realize that we have 81% of people who are blind or have severe vision impairment are at ages 50 or above, and an estimated 19 million children under 15 are vision impaired. So this problem really affects a lot of people, and our solution is going to help ease the lives of all these.
So our focus is to ease the life of visually impaired, eliminate the misplacement of canes, and also in case it's lost, locate that. In trying to solve this problem, we came up with 5 basic requirements. The first and the most important being trackability. We had to come up with a product that would locate misplaced canes. The second most significant one was lightweight. We wanted to add features but still keep the weight less than 1 pound. Third, emergency functionality. We tried to add some features that will assist a visually impaired in case of danger. Fourth, usability. We tried to make our cane more portable and comfortable so that it lowers the chances of even losing a cane. And lastly, affordability. Our retail price is approximately $150. Our competitors are advanced smart canes currently in market, like Smart Cane device in India, but those devices have certain limited capabilities, like they can't track misplaced canes. So we tried to implement services like trackability so that we can find canes in case they're lost and we don't have to find a new one. Also, we have LED lights which will help assist visually impaired people in case of danger.
So starting to work on our prototype, we considered 3 different design options. The first 2 are a wand and some eyewear, but we realized that those 2 lack the physical contact between the cane and the ground that many visual impaired people would like to have. So we decided to go with a full cane, but also combine that with a wearable for the 2 devices to communicate with each other. We looked at the requirements and we had to integrate some of those into the cane. For example, we wanted the materials to be very light so that, again, it wouldn't exceed 1 pound. We wanted the wristband to be less distractive, not cause lots of attention out on the streets. And also we want the contact between the 2 devices to be seamless. To help with this, we made a design matrix with a few criteria that we came up with. And looking on the rightmost column, you can see that the Bluetooth tracking, the emergency calling, and the wearable were the 3 most prominent things we were looking to implement into the design.
The 2 main components to our prototype are the wristband and the cane. Both are outfitted with Bluetooth transmitters that allow a signal to be sent between the two. When the signal falls beneath a certain threshold, a feedback is emitted to the user in the form of either vibrations or some kind of auditory tone that alerts them to the fact that because of this distance, there's an indication that their cane has been left behind or they do not have it upon them. Another feature that we implemented was the LED lights. So in cases where the user is in a dark environment or they're in a crowded environment and the cane is to drop and they're not able to find it, switching on the LED switch does allow for the lights to come on. So even if they are not able to find it, those around them are able to assist them and return it to them.
So one of the three things that we really considered as a team was to get our device to market was feasibility first and foremost. We wanted to have the most simplistic design that offered the most. We also wanted to be able to provide for our customers some of their needs and of course some of their wants. With additional features, customization is going to be available, and as well as we wanted to make our device affordable. We looked at some of the competitors and we noticed that the devices were quite expensive. You know, some were reaching anywhere from $250 to $500, and we wanted to make our device more affordable in comparison to them. And being that our device is, again, incorporating technology, we wanted to make sure that we wouldn't fall behind. We were keeping up with current trends, so we wanted to plan on having upgrades. Some of these which include vibration to directionality, as well as seamless integration with Alexa via voice learning recognition. And we wanted to also develop an app that would interface with our device to give more functionality. And lastly, moving these capabilities to other assistive objects, maybe some types of different articles of clothing or other devices.
Right, and adding on to the market specifications, we're hoping to produce a single individual cane for about $100 worth of materials. We'll sell it for about a retail price of $150, so we'll make a profit of $50 for each cane sold. We have worked out the the cost of the materials, and in bulk, we can probably try to drive our prices down for production and make more of a profit as we move forward. In about 5 years, we hope to have about 20% of the smart cane market, seeing as a lot of research is being done on new canes in development. And so we are raising canes, and thank you for your time. We're going to open the floor to any questions now.
Judge, you have 5 minutes.
So the $100, tell me what's made up of that.
Right, well, 50% of that is the material of the cane itself. We looked at a lot of canes through different services and different suppliers, and most of the canes that are on market are between like $30 and $50. So we took the upper margin of that to say that we can make it even more lightweight and have it around that price. We also were looking at the materials for the wristband capabilities, and we were looking at a price range of about $25 to $30 for that. And the additional add-ons such as a comfortable grip and customizability made up the other $20 to $25.
Did your prototype work?
So when we tested the purpose was we kind of wanted to create the signal between it. If it fell beneath a certain threshold, we wanted a vibration to occur. However, because of the fabric which we use to create the wristband, the motor vibrates, but it doesn't make the fabric itself vibrate. So removing that, we were able to establish a connection between the two of them. However, because nobody's actually used this particular Bluetooth transistor before, there wasn't a lot of work that people had done online for us to go off of. So we were able to get the two transistors to send messages to each other, but we weren't able at this point to. We were allowed to, we created the signal strength, but we weren't allowed to make it physically make a motor or something move, the wristband itself.
So do the LED lights work?
Yes.
Demonstrate.
They don't work at the moment. They require a computer. We weren't able to make it function off of that.
Right, yeah, and the signal strength and everything can be seen when given a monitor, but we weren't able to break down the size of that monitor into a component that would allow them to function separately.
But we have had the video demonstration a few slides back of how it does work with a connection.
You mentioned in your future work that there's going to be an app. How does the app integrate with this?
Right, so currently there's RFID technology that allows for a child to pair with a device, and that device stores, when the app is running in the background, it uploads the location of that device that it's paired with to the cloud. So potentially in the future, if such technology were to be implemented with this cane, the person would be able to send the location of this device to the cloud. So instead of just having a like some kind of auditory feedback or some kind of physical feedback to know where the cane is, because when they're turning, they're able to get some kind of physical feedback. But having that, the location stored in the cloud would allow them to know the actual feedback. And if you were to sync it with Alexa or something, you would be able to say, Alexa, where's my cane? And because she actually knows the location of the cane, given the GPS and location stored in the cloud, she would be able to give you physical directions to it.
Additionally, we wanted to add features that wouldn't essentially increase the weight, like my colleague had mentioned. So we were looking at adding maybe a small solid state memory, basically like a flash drive memory, to offer additional features like music capabilities, maybe different storage options, just to kind of maybe decrease some of the devices or additional devices that the user would have to, kind of carry with them. So integrating that with an app would kind of give us more of an opportunity to increase the different functions that are available with our device.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to take a 10-minute break, so if everybody could come back here at 4:40, we will get started with the rest of the teams. Thank you very much. All right, great. Welcome back to the second half of the presentations. Thank you very much again for watching online. Thank you for our judges. We took a quick break here. I've asked all the teams to speak up a little bit louder so that everybody can hear. We're going to continue on, and I do want to remind everyone that we think Aggies Invent is the spark. We want you to take each one of these projects and move them forward, because we believe that you have an opportunity to create a business and create a startup. So engage with us in engineering entrepreneurship, engage with us so that we are able to help you and to move these things forward. So no matter where you come out in the contest today, we are interested in helping you take these ideas forward, because some of them are really, really outstanding. Thank you again for the time and effort, and without further ado, open sesame. Oop. Let's get to your presentation. With a slight we got my Where's the clicker? I have. Oh, she's not. I didn't ready. All right.
Need to scoot down.
Thank you, Deborah. Doors are an everyday part of our lives, but sometimes they aren't so easy to open. We've all been in situations where we can't open the door. Frustrating, right? For some, that may be a daily frustration. Wheelchairs, crutches, crying babies, and an armful of groceries are some of the things that cause this frustration. But Open Sesame is here to help. We offer a hands-free, affordable, easy-to-implement technology to unlock and open your front door. We also understand the importance of keeping a home safe. That's why Open Sesame offers an innovative solution to using your door securely. With Open Sesame, a new opportunity has come knocking. Will you open the door?
Hi. My name is William Smith. I'm an MMET student here at Texas A&M, and I worked on the mechanical design of the door.
I'm Iran Ramirez. I'm an ESET major, software development.
My name is Jesse York, chemical engineering major, and I worked on prototyping.
I'm Robert Myers. I'm a general engineering student, and I worked on software.
My name is Amanda Gibbons. I'm a biomedical engineering student. I worked on software and design.
My name is Michael Bayern. I'm an electrical engineering major, and I worked on hardware design.
Hello, I'm David Miller, and I'm just an engineering major, and I designed the software part of our door.
And we are Open Sesame. Everybody has to open a door, and sometimes we just don't have enough hands to get around to it. And so our team was challenged to open doors wirelessly and hands-free, and that is unlocking and opening residential front doors with the specific implications to assist people with impairments.
According to our research, most people in the U.S. have doors. But a more surprising statistic may be just how common physical disabilities are in our population. The most recent U.S. Census shows that over 45 million Americans suffer from some form of physical disability. Now this presents a very large audience in which people have issues opening and closing doors on a daily basis, so it becomes a daily struggle. Now, when implementing our design and brainstorming, we came up with 5 design requirements. Those being our device had to be hands-free, must be cheaper than $1,500, must be installable using only a screwdriver, must be passcode restricted, and must meet the ADA requirements for automatic doors.
So with these requirements in mind, we came up with 3 designs that could fit the bill. The first one was a magnetic rail system, which used a fixed track that the door could travel on. The problem we came up with this design was it might be too expensive and complex to manufacture and install. The second design uses a spool and cable system. This is similar to like a reel they would use on a fishing rod. And it does a great job of opening the door, but how are you supposed to close it? because it wouldn't be able to close. So this led us to our third design, which is the one we ended up choosing, and this is a wheel. This is the most simple design we have. Everybody understands the wheel. We didn't really see a need to reinvent the wheel, as some might say, and we felt like this design was going to be the best design moving forward that we can improve. It would be cheap, and I'm going to pass it off to Michael so he can talk a little bit more about the prototype.
So in the last 48 hours, we've taken that design you saw from the whiteboard into reality. We have done so using 3 separate boxes installed on the back of a traditional door. 2 of those boxes allow us to electronically operate a standard deadbolt and standard doorknob. And the 3rd box, mounted at the bottom of the door, contains our wheel assembly along with an actuator to fold the wheel out of the way. We figured it might pose a trip hazard, so that was a feature. The bottom box contains our Raspberry Pi and batteries, so the device is self-contained. And along with this hardware, there's a large suite of software that Robert will explain.
So inside of the app interface, when you first enter the app, you have the option to lock and unlock and open and close the door. But on top of that, you also have a camera that is inside of it to where you can see who is outside of the door. This is very helpful if you have some friends coming over and you want to make sure that make sure they can come in and that it's just them. But also on top of that, we integrated voice assistants into the app so that instead of having to open up the app and basically just replacing what you would do with your keys, you could say something like, "Hey Siri, open Sesame," and it would open the door for you. There it is.
Turn on your iPhone first.
So that's what with the app interface, that's what we were trying to tackle, and I'm going to pass it on.
So after completing our prototype design, we calculated the parts cost around $210. I'm sorry, $210. Now we found that $210 is about the max it would cost for all these parts. We believe if we use other parts, we can significantly bring down that cost, allowing us to have a healthy profit margin while still keeping it affordable. Now, Robert and David did an awesome job of taking care of the software part that kept it secure using passphrase and also encryption. And this allows us to do voice activation, which we don't have to use any physicality to open the door. It also requires only 8 screws, believe it or not, to install once it's completely assembled. You just need 8 screws and a screwdriver to go ahead and install it on the door completely. We also found that we had to keep it open, or I'm sorry, it had to take at least 5 seconds to close. Also, within the system, it had to have at least 5 amps of current running through it, and also it had to be installed on new or pre-existing doors. And these were all relevant conditions for the American Disabilities Act, which we met.
So our team has had an amazing and productive weekend here at Aggies Invent, and we've learned a whole lot of things about the problems that millions of people face every day. I mean, including one of our teammates. And so what we've learned about that is that there's a huge, huge market potential for this product. And with your support, we believe that we can take it from a prototype to an actual product. So don't let the door close on this opportunity. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you. Okay, judges, you've got 5 minutes for questions.
Can you turn it around so we can see what the product is exactly?
We can probably actually close it.
Yeah, close it. So those are the 4 pieces, the wheel, the bottom, the 2 tops, and those are the 8 screws you're talking about?
So each one of yes, so these 2 boxes here are attached as the standard deadbolt and doorknob, and any standard door is 2 screws each. So that accounts for 4, and then there are 4 screws across the length here. That's the only installation. As long as this is aligned properly, which is fairly straightforward, the door closes.
So does it really work?
It really works. Yes,
Well,
it
can we
really
make
works.
it work?
We can make it open.
Open the door.
If you noticed when we began our video, the door was closed.
It was.
So you're using your cell phone.
Yes, right now I'm using my cell phone to open the door.
But I don't want to use my hands to open the door.
We actually do have the Siri kit implemented within the actual app itself, but due to some time constraints and some restrictions based from Apple, we weren't able to get the certificates in time to actually be able to push onto the app and be able to use Siri in that way. In the future, if we do get your support, then maybe we will be able to get that onto the App Store and use it where it is hands-free. But for the testing purposes, we weren't actually able to load it onto a phone without it being tethered.
Yeah, future plans for other home automation integrations, such as Alexa?
Yes, Alexa was actually a little bit easier than Siri to implement with, so.
We actually have some amazing future production talking about telling you who's at the front door, a video, but also like some other products. You can set a time where you want the door unlocked, and you can let your animals in or out of the house whenever you want, and that can really be an asset to some people.
So what's the basis for your $1,500 threshold?
I think. So we did some market research, and I came to find out that most in commercial buildings, there's normally like some type of hinge or motor up here that opens the doors as long as a button is pushed. And every single automated door, whether it be for residential or commercial use, needed a button. We found something that we believe we're in a league of our own, because I found something that was very similar to this, but it's only for interior doors, and it didn't lock or unlatch a door. It was just for interior doors that had.
What was the basis for $1,500?
Yes, ma'am. So we found most of these price points were around $5,000, but we saw some more that were around the $1,500 range, and we believe we can get it way below that.
The cheapest available residential door that was automatic was $1,500.
Right.
So the $250 is for those 3 pieces and the wheel?
Yes, sir. Everything you see here, excepting the door hardware, we estimate to be approximately $250 in single quantities, obviously.
And that's including markup and whatnot with the actual products that we bought. So, like, if we were actually going to manufacture this, we'd be able to get them at better prices, which would bring the cost down, make it more affordable for consumers.
So we probably wouldn't be using wood, maybe
plastic and things like that.
And so where would this be available? Where would it be available?
So at the moment, I'm sure you are all familiar, I believe you have an electronic lock. Companies sell electronic locks at Home Depot, so we believe our system could integrate into that similar market. Alongside such a lock, you can now buy the lock and an opener.
We believe it's just a thing of a time for people to get used to that door like this can be much safer than the locks that are right now. So in the future, we believe this is going to be the standard that everybody has.
We also think it could be sold along medical devices and potentially even rental market, depending on the price point. So like people like Robert, temporary disability, but it would still help him tremendously. So we think the rental market could be huge for this as well.
Is this battery operated?
Yes.
Okay.
We did a study, and most battery-operated electronic locks and handles, they have a battery life of about 1 year, and for the amount of time that people use the front door, it's pretty impressive. So we think that we can definitely replicate something along these lines.
So just a word of caution, you need a backup in case that electronic doesn't work. So I have a friend of mine who had electronic in his backyard, and he's never been able to come to his house or his backyard because he forgot how to get that open.
Yes, so the front lock hardware, the external lock, is unmodified. I can use the key on the deadbolt, and I can use I should be able to use the lock up here to actuate the handle.
But the tire won't work, the wheel won't work with that, right?
No, and the wheel is usually folded up, so it wouldn't affect the ability to use it. On the rear, we can also place a standard lock set. However, these are 3D printed components and not strong enough to
Okay,
allow
thank
that.
you very much. I appreciate it. The next team is Third Eye.
Grab all the
I got this side.
Okay, we gotta leave the table.
Yeah, now we're grabbing that top. I got the Raspberry Pi underneath.
Yeah.
I got this. You got it? Yeah. Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah. Don't forget your like notepad and stuff that's in the other room. Oh yeah, did you already get your stuff? Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's awesome. My laptop? I had left my laptop over
Which need statement are you?
Number 9.
Ready? Okay, third eye, take it away.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith Sivaraja, and I'm a sophomore mechatronics major here at Texas A&M University.
Howdy, I'm Usability Luna, and I'm a freshman mechanical engineering major.
I'm Bria, and I'm a freshman general engineering major at Texas A&M.
Hi, I'm Sanya. I'm a master's student at Texas A&M.
Howdy, I'm Jack Hayes. I'm a freshman general engineering major, and we are Third Eye.
And we'd like to start off a presentation with a quick video.
Today, there are dozens of technologies to help a visually impaired person navigate from point A to point B. But what happens once they get there? While many buildings do have assistive navigation technology for the visually impaired, this technology is far from universally used. Imagine, you are visually impaired. You have a meeting on the 3rd floor in 15 minutes, but you have never been in this building before and have no idea where to find the stairwell. Your cane may help you avoid hitting the wall, but can it help you find where room 404 is? In the US alone, over 6.5 million people have a visual impairment to a degree that they require a cane or walker to get around. On any given day, an individual such as this could find themselves in an unfamiliar space with no sense of what lies before them as they grow more and more frustrated and anxious by the minute.
This is where Third Eye comes in. Third Eye is a wearable portable device that helps a visually impaired person navigate an open space. It has sensors to avoid obstacles and camera that captures your surrounding and translates it back to you. It's voice enabled and will direct you to your desired location. No more fear of the open space. Open your world with Third Eye.
Visually impaired individuals face a lot of difficulties throughout their day, but these are difficulties that can be solved through the advancement of technology. The need statement that my team and I have worked on this past 48 hours is to create a device that can help individuals navigate through unfamiliar and open spaces and alert them of obstacles in their way or important information. Additionally, we wanted to create a visually impaired friendly environment, unlike this room that you see over here.
While solving these two problems, we wanted to ensure that our final product would be reliable, responsive, affordable, portable, and easy to use. By running tests on our sensors and using data feedback provided through AWS, we are confident that our device will provide accurate information for the user. Second, our device is a compact yet efficient tool which can be sold to the market for an affordable price, well below the average price for assistive technology, which is currently being sold at. Finally, we have created a device that provides individuals with feedback using audio, which will help them create a better mental image of their surroundings. We made sure that this device would be extremely easy to use, and the user interface would have as few moving components as possible.
Before we came up with our final design, we first came up with 3 initial designs. The first of these consisted simply of the user's cell phone, using the phone's built-in camera to take a video or image of the surroundings, use AWS to process what's in the picture, and use Poly to communicate back to the user what they're seeing. And while this sounds like a good idea, there are some drawbacks. For one, if the person wanted to use it while out and about, they'd either have to hold it out in their hand the entire time or fish it out of their pocket if they wanted to use it, which may be often. Also, existing cell phones don't have the technology, like the sensor, to have the immediate object warnings that we would like to have in our device. And thirdly, if we wanted to use video, that would cost about 10 cents an hour using AWS, which would quickly make it too expensive for the average person to use. To deal with some of these problems that we ran into with our first iteration, we came up with a second design, which was to have one device with a built-in camera, sensor, and processor, which would do all the functions that we needed it to do. While this also sounds good, it also has some drawbacks. Since it's basically its own computer, it inherently would be more expensive and heavier. In the end, we took the best aspects of each of our first two designs and came up with a hybrid, which combined the existing hardware of the cell phones with the innovative technology that we would like to implement in our final solution. The hybrid that we made was Third Eye.
Basically, there are 3 levels of navigation. The first level is navigating from point A to point B. The second level is when you reach point B, how do you perceive your surroundings? How do you identify the objects? The third level is when you're navigating from point A to point B, you might encounter many obstacles on the way. It can be a low-hanging tree branch or it can be something sticking out of the sidewalk. Your GPS will help you in the point A to point B part, but your GPS won't help you to identify all the obstacles on the path, or it won't protect you from low-hanging tree branches. So that's where our Third Eye comes in. It's a very small portable device which has 2 sensors on the top at an elevated level that detects when there's a low-hanging tree branch, and there is camera in the front that takes images of the surroundings. So it takes images every 2 seconds that gets transferred to our phone application and connected to the cloud services. Will be able to get back to the user via a voice-enabled device and convert those text images into speech. We'll have a demo of that image.
As you can see, our device is very simple. It only has one switch for on and off, which is a toggle switch, which would make it easy for a visually impaired person to tell if the device is on or off. It has a one-touch button to enable voice commands, and has one button that would take a picture, let that picture be processed, and then communicate back to the person what they're actually standing in front of. On the back, you can see there are places for vibrating motors to be. So if this sensor here detects an object that a cane otherwise wouldn't, as you can see here, the closer you get to the object, the more it vibrates. So as you approach, you become more aware of the object and are less likely to hit it. And the final aspect is not only recognizing that there's an object here where your cane can't detect, but recognizing objects far off, which is the job of the camera. I'm gonna hand this off.
So as I mentioned, we'll have images taken every 2 seconds, and that'll be sent to our cloud device. And using AWS recognition and Poly, we'll be able to convert those images into text format, and those texts will be converted back to speech. For example, if I'm using the device, I'll have the microphone at the side of the device. I can ask a question like, is there a staircase here? So my device will output me back.
Hi, the staircase in your path, 98% accuracy.
And the accuracy increases as you move closer to the image. That is the staircase.
Our goal is to improve the quality of life of the visually impaired. We plan to do this with our device that will help them navigate through open spaces without the fear of running into something or missing information, such as an emergency sign. Third Eye will stimulate the confidence and independence and freedom. It would also ensure safety.
Now, we understand that there are different competitors within this market, such as Be My Eye or Blind Square. Now, these companies, they use actual people to take in the video feed and give back feedback. So this is a lot of resources, which means a lot of money. Our device is extremely efficient and affordable, and that's what sets it apart in its market. Our vision for the Third Eye is to create a device that will help people all around the world at an affordable price. To achieve this goal, we need to do a lot of testing and training to our system so that we know that it is very accurate. Once we get this, we also want to create video so that it'll take video and always give back feedback. If there is a staircase in front of you, it'll say staircase ahead. Or if there's a stranger approaching, it'll let you know. Or if there's a car moving, it'll let you know constantly. Additionally, we want to use big data so that if you're going to a specific place, GPS location, It'll already know certain aspects of that location, and it'll already be trained. We believe that this has the potential to create a huge impact and positively impact many lives. And so I hope that you will join us in making these lives better. Make your world better with the third eye. Thank you.
Judges, you have 5 minutes for questions.
It vibrates when you get closer. You can tell that there's an object because it vibrates, but how do you know if the object is directly in front of you or to the side?
Our plans with the dual vibrator would be that perhaps you could have different sensors, like 2 of these, and it could vibrate on either side and indicate to you which side it's on. And so that would kind of give you more direction of which way to go instead of just ducking.
If you're looking for a staircase or elevators, how is it, and you're in a large building, you'd have to walk around taking
Aimlessly.
pictures?
Yeah, if the staircase is near to you, the accuracy level increases. Suppose it's a large building with many staircases and there's a staircase right next to you, so you'll be able to predict 98%, so you know it's immediate to your right. And when you pass the staircase, the accuracy level decreases.
Well, how does it get you to room 404?
Sorry?
How does it get you to room 404?
Room 404, yeah, that is something that we're looking towards developing. Like, as I mentioned, we are going to use big data to make it more intelligible, to pass in a big data set so that it knows that room 404 is at this location. So that once it becomes familiar with the surroundings, it's easier for us to, you know, make use of that data and translate it back.
And I'd like to add on to that answer. We also, in the future, we want to add on capabilities where you can pre-program it to say, let's say you're going to meet a friend and you already have a picture of that friend. So if you pre-program it to say, once you see this person, alert me and direct me towards them. When you go into a crowded room and the camera finally finds that person, it'll say, your friend is X meters ahead of you, go in this direction. And you can do that same deal with staircases, exit signs, what have you.
So help me understand the technology. When you have video that takes video of a staircase, for example, how does that then get represented as an obstacle to that person that's walking with the cane?
Video, right now we have not implemented video because, as we mentioned, AWS costs a lot, like 10 cents per video. So right now it's just images, like many images, 2 seconds, and videos is not, the staircase is not considered as an obstacle. It's like considered as a destination point. So when you ask for a staircase using the microphone, it gets back to you saying the staircase at this particular location.
Well, let me use another example that you gave, a stick in the way. So in the path to the staircase, maybe there's an object in the way.
Okay, so that'll be the vibrators, the motion sensors here.
Even though they're down here, because I thought those were for up.
You have a cane. Yes, sir. It's to supplement the cane. This is
This
basically
isn't a replacement, it's a
supplement. Yes, sir. It's like a cane for the upper half of your body that you can't constantly sweep.
And I'm not sure, where are you putting it? How are you
Oh, I
carrying
had
it?
it as a necklace.
As a necklace.
Yes, ma'am. Just around the neck. And this is so it can follow your upper body, so where you're facing and where your ears are directed, it can also be looking where you'd be looking.
Stairs are obstacles, by the way.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So right now it looks like an animal crackers box. And can you make it small? Can you make it look like a piece of jewelry?
Yes, ma'am. And the reason it's so large is because we're using the Arduino Uno, which is an open source hardware. But truly, the only thing that we need from it is the microcontroller, and then we can design our own PCB board. And so that'll make it significantly smaller. But another thing that we did want to include is a visually impaired person. When you see someone with a cane, you're automatically cautious around them. You want to, you make sure you're careful around them. And so we don't want to take that away. And so whenever we do make it smaller, it'll also have a ring around it that alerts people around them that this person is visually impaired and we need to pay extra attention to them.
So what was your price point again?
We believe that with these parts and the ultrasonic sensors that we're using, $200 will allow us to use camera, ultrasonic sensor, microcontroller, and all the others we need, and the enclosure itself.
That's $200 to the buyer or to make it?
To the buyer, for the buyer. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next team is CAPTCHA.
Give the judges a second. Give the judges just a second. Yeah, exactly.
And what number is your needs statement?
Two. Two. Okay, take it away, guys.
Howdy.
Howdy.
We are Team CAPTCHA and I'm Shubham. I'm Pranoy. I'm Siddharth. I'm Sagar. So let's begin our presentation with a story of Sam, who has a hearing impairment. So let's see how does he go to his classroom and he does his day-to-day activities.
So today you're going to learn how to become good teachers. So this is an article how to prepare to teach a course. Teaching a course at any level requires knowledge, authority, and the ability to anticipate and answer questions.
This is the everyday story of Sam, one of the 48 million Americans suffering from hearing disability. Like most of us, they wish to attend and participate in the classroom, in conferences and other events. Existing solutions in the market are not only expensive but also inaccurate, and they require a lot of human intervention. We at CAPTCHA have developed a solution for people like Sam. Our mobile application listens to the speech of the speaker and captions it in real time. The text is then transferred to the mobile application on Sam's phone, which can be read as a caption. Let's see the system in action.
Students will expect to learn things they did not know and to attain the tools necessary to continue learning. Establish your goals for the course. Having clear objectives for your course will help you know exactly what to teach and will help your students realize what they should be learning.
So help Sam feel a part of the society and not a part. He was here today and he was sitting behind and he was not able to understand any of these presentations that were happening. So we at CAPTCHA took up the challenge of solving this problem. We designed an application in order to make such conferences and events available to every one of us. So what do we need in order to make such a system? Firstly, we need a real-time captioning system. Secondly, we need to eliminate the use of a human transcriber. Thirdly, the efficiency of the captioning device should be high. Also, we need the solution to be extremely low cost. Also, we need a solution that is portable and can be taken from one place to the other. So how do we do this? We had 3 design ideas. The first one involved using a HoloLens and a microphone. So the speaker can speak into the microphone and the text recorded can go from the embedded device to the cloud. The cloud will then convert it from speech to text and the text would be sent to the HoloLens and displayed as a caption. However, such a system requires expensive hardware such as HoloLens and cannot be easily available. The second design idea was using Amazon Deep Lens. We can record the audio and the video of the speaker and send it to the Amazon cloud. We can then use the speech to text recognition tool and then add the captions to the video and send the entire captioned video to the user's application or the smartphone. However, in conferences and other events, we may run into latency and network issues. Hence, we cannot do with that. So, how can we solve such a problem? Let's ask Pranav about it.
So, after thorough critiquing and evaluating the pros and cons of all the systems, we came up with the design as you have seen in the video. So we call it Capture. So this is an overview of our solution. If you see, we have used the smartphone at the user end as well as the listener end. We process the real-time audio through the text in the cloud. So this is an overview of our system. We call it Capture. Capture stands for capturing audio and providing captions for hearing impaired assistants. So there are two modes in our application. One would be the speaker mode and one would be the listener mode. So speaker mode, as I am now, so I will be just turning on my application and switching on to the speaker mode. And my speaker mode, my application in the speaker mode starts listening to me and starts streaming my voice into text, starts streaming my voice to the cloud. Now the cloud processes my audio in real time and converts into text using AI-powered deep learning technology. Then the listener mode, anywhere, like Sam, would be sitting around in the crowd like this state, and he would be switching on his application and just turning it into the listener mode. And now, whenever he has his application running, he can see a camera feed on his mobile in real time, like in this event. And he can be a part of our event and conferences and meetings. So this is a demo of the speaker mode and the listener mode. The speaker mode starts listening, and as well as you can see both the text and the capture in the speaker mode as well as the listener mode. So there are some existing solutions already available in the market, but they are costly, they are sophisticated, and they are not easily accessible. So one would be a typical stenographer. A typical stenographer would be a person who would be transcribing the text in real time and typing it. It would involve a lot of labor and hard work. The other solution would be entertainment access glasses. This is a kind of sophisticated hardware and designed for a specific purpose of movie theaters and other events. And it's very costly. So we had to come up with a better solution than this. The other existing solutions would be AI Live and Specs Appeal. AI Live involves a lot of human intervention and can cause delay and latency issues while transcribing text in real time. Specs Appeal, although it is for the hearing impaired patients, but is very costly and cannot be afforded by common people. So we had to come up with a solution which is very low cost and can be used by common people. So our business model will be explained by Siddharth.
So we created a basic business model canvas for our company. So our value proposition is that it's a real-time streaming, real-time captioning device. It's low cost, portable, and it's easy to use. So the customer segments that we are trying to target, first off, our end consumers are people who have some kind of hearing disability. But additionally, we are also planning to target conferences, universities and schools, sports event, theaters, and tourism companies also to sell a product to. And the revenue streams, we would have either direct sales or them paying on phone application stores. So when we actually were thinking of the market, we wanted to make this device free for people who have any kind of hearing disability. So we actually moved to an enterprise model, and just looking at one of the target consumers, that is conferences, we've developed a market. So there are 1.8 million conferences in the US happening every year, and an average conference lasts for 2 days. One assumption we have made is that the speaking time in a conference will last for 4 hours. And based on this, we tried to come up with a metric which we call cost per room hour. And with this metric, the total market size which we have is 14.4 million room hours per year. So looking at our costing, so the cost of cloud service per hour for the company would come down to US dollars 1.44, but the revenue, the finance, the pricing that we're targeting is $10 per room hour for our customers. So if you look at the cost comparison with other existing technologies, stenographer cost is paid $23 an hour. Specs Appeal costs $22 an hour. AirLive costs $180 an hour, and we're getting it down to $10 per room hour for our service. So basically, in the last 48 hours, we were able to build a working prototype of our app, which has the speaker mode and the listener mode. So some of the things that we worked on, we reduced the requirement of any additional hardware. We are using Google Speech to AI and using deep learning and machine learning along with it. We made a device which is, or a solution which is easy to use, and we think that we came up with a business model which could be sold easily. So we at Capture, we're trying to empower the lives of people like Sam. Help us help Sam. Thank you.
Judges, you have 5 minutes.
Just a quick comment. I think it's brilliant of your business model, the way you're going to the enterprise model. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And I know there's a lot of people out there that, in my lifetime that I've been part of that have big confidence that would really enjoy using your technology.
So if I understand correctly, you have 3 basic parts to your solution. So the speaker has to have a cell phone with able to hear, what is being said, and so they have to have an application that will send it into the cloud. The cloud will translate, if you will, or convert the audio into text, and then the user or the listener on the other end has to have the application on their phone to receive the text. Is that right? So how would you distribute this at a conference?
So if a conference asks us to provide a solution to them, what we can do is we can ask the participants if they need such a captioning device, they can just download the app from the Play Store, which will be available for free for everyone else. And the conference can then give them a code that, okay, this is our code corresponding to this conference, so you will not be charged, or you don't have to pay anything for this conference, and that's how it will be distributed among the people who want to use it. And the biggest advantage is that it does not limit to people with hearing disability. It can be used by any one of us. So we can just give you an example. So Open Sesame was performing over here, and we were not able to hear it at the back. So we actually have a recording of them. They're done with their presentation.
So I noticed in the captions that there were a number of errors in the words. So I think that we need to have a certain percentage of accuracy in the United States.
So we checked with the ADA and the FCC regulations. According to them, they have a 98% of accuracy that is needed for the captions, but they have defined this for televisions and not for live events. But still, the API that we are using, the Google Cloud API, it provides an accuracy of 95 to 98, and it will increase over time as the usage of the app increases. So we surely are going to go up.
So we're just quick recording when another team
was taking place. We were not able to hear at the back, and our app was helping us to do that. Sorry. So it's not only targeted for hearing impaired people, but sometimes whenever we are in the open room auditorium or any open air events, we are not able to hear most of the time, so we can use our application there also. So one of the more future-ended idea was noise-free conferences. So the speaker would be speaking in his microphone in a low voice, and there would be no loudspeakers around, and everyone would have their smartphone, and they can plug in their earphone and listen to that.
I don't know what else to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. The next team is Mind Control.
I'm awestruck. That's why
I mean, it's kind of simultaneous. It's really on everything online, so it's going to,
Give the judges a few minutes to
And don't forget to speak up. It was very difficult to get this guy. I was trying to tell everybody to speak up. You'll remember in the training I said hit the back door. Which need state? Which need state? Let me know when y'all are ready.
I'm not ready.
Ready for some sleep?
As the judges are getting ready, I'll remind all the teams that what we're going to be doing is, as we finish up, we're going to take a group shot up here. So as soon as the awards are announced, we'll gather everybody up here. We'll take a group shot, then some of the teams want to take individual pictures and things like that. We can take that. And then, so we'll have an opportunity to get a chance to be able to at least take a group shot of everybody who's here. All right, you all ready? All right, here you go.
Howdy.
Howdy. Howdy.
Our team is Mind Control, and today we're presenting iSpeak, a product that uses blinking to communicate. My name is Jill Starks.
My name is Gilberto Flores.
I'm Jill Burgess.
I'm Philip Youngblood.
And I'm Elizabeth Rostrud.
It's a beautiful Sunday morning. You're out for a ride through your neighborhood park. On your way home, a distracted driver does not see you in the bike lane, and a collision occurs, leaving you unconscious. You awake in a hospital, surrounded by your family, and unable to speak.
Our purpose in creating iSpeak is to give a voice to the voiceless. Our need statement was to create a portable and affordable way to quickly convey a person's thoughts into recognizable speech. There are 7.5 million Americans who have a difficult time using their voices. Our team was very passionate in pursuing this project because we have family members who are unable to speak as a result of an illness. That severely reduces their ability to communicate with other people, and we wanted to solve this problem. The causes of voice loss can be varied, and they include congenital conditions, cancer, strokes, ALS, and muscular dystrophy.
Now, having the needs statement in mind, we came up with 5 different design requirements. The first is that our product must be capable of turning the person's thoughts into actual text and our speech. The second one is that the person should signal when to start and stop the device. It should also be capable of, we should sell the device for less than $200. We should also be capable of sending the message in less than 10 seconds, and it should weigh less than 100 grams.
the design alternatives that we started with the EEG and looking at brain waves and functionality of the brain. We moved from that, because it's a giant place to be, to actually using your hands, communicating, have a camera set up and look at motion. That led to blinking. And basic yes, no questions just by your eye movement.
So based on the design requirements of cost, portability, ease of use, and market audience, we selected eye capture as the most feasible approach to our design solution. The way that this product works, we have eye capture with infrared that basically when your eye is closed, there's an input sensor, and depending on the length of time, it's transferred into a signal through our Arduino into code that not only lights up LED lights, but also transfers that into text that can be integrated with the AWS and with Poly and speech recognition and output also to mobile devices like a cell phone.
Hi, Phil. Are you doing all right today? Great. I'm glad to see that you are. Is there anything I can get for you? Oh, you're hungry? You'd like some food? All right. Would you like a hamburger? No hamburger. You got it. How about some soup? Perfect. We'll go get you the soup of the day.
iSpeak was designed for customers so it's easy for them to learn how to use. It only takes about 5 to 10 minutes to teach a user how to use this device. It's cost effective. It only costs about $75 for us to make this device, and it's very portable. It's easy to carry, and everything would be attached to the lens. So some of our competitors, such as EEG type models, they are a lot less cost effective. They can cost almost $1,500 just to make them. They also are not as portable as our design is. They don't work as well with carrying them around and moving them. These are designed more for a customer to use.
For our cost structure, we estimated that it would cost about $75 to make each individual product for the hardware alone. We expect to be able to sell them for $150 for the hardware purchase, and then we expect to use a monthly subscription fee of about $5. That would mean that we get a profit of $75 from the hardware alone. For our cost determination, we added up all of the different components that we use for our device and came to a total of $75, as can be seen there.
Now, our primary customer segment will be people that are fully paralyzed and have no other means of communication. The reason that we chose this as our main market is the fact that there's a high percentage of this population that still retains eyelid function and movement, so we take advantage of these through Bluetooth. And this can be like really beneficial for different segments, such as a hospital environment where nurses don't have to be checking in on patients at all times. It will be the same for like nursing home residents or senior citizens and all the others.
Now, what would we need to do to get this product going? We would need to finish the software development on it. You saw it working from the demonstration video. You saw the text message come through. Finishing the code to where it connected all the way through. We would reinforce the glasses, come up with a design that balanced better on your face. The camera itself is directly in front of the eyes, so it would be angled over to the side so it did not obstruct your view. There would be a speaker on the side of the glasses. So not only is the user able to see an LED light, there would be a ding, so they would know exactly how many times that the system has registered that they blinked. There would also be the visual. You could have a bracelet with lights on it if you were in the hospital, have lights on the side of the arm of the bed itself, so the patient would see that, lights on the outside so the nursing staff would be able to identify. Having this transferred over to the text message, if you were at home, the caregiver wasn't able to be there, we need to finish that software, so if they were outside, they would know that you would be ready to, that you needed some help. Thinking back to the video and the questions that were asked to Phil, the idea with this is that if your caregiver wasn't in the room with you, you would be able to send them a message of exactly what you wanted, not just looking at help. So you would have a menu selection that was done through AWS in a pre-selected order. So you could blink, hold your blink to what you needed. Were you looking for food? Were you looking for help? What specific type of help? Did you need to call 911? How was that motoring through with your blink? The message would then be sent to be direct. If it was set up to the individual client, to the user, that you're a big fan of grilled cheese, and that was one of the lists that was there, then the person that was receiving your message would say, would you please make me a grilled cheese? So they didn't have to be there with you questioning. You know, there'd be a 20 question kind of setup where they didn't have to be right there with you, because otherwise they could just blink.
In addition to completing our iSpeak product development, we'd also like to pursue future ideas, also integrating with AWS. Such could be as simple as SqueezeSpeak, allowing just basic interaction with yes/no questions. TouchSpeak, giving kind of a more advanced, quicker interface, also with the touch. And then ThinkSpeech would be like more EEG, a higher level neural kind of transmitter that could decipher and obviously into speak. All these could be integrated into the cloud base so that they could learn with machine learning, and also incorporate some other advanced technology like GPS for awareness.
So that is Easy Speak. We have the questions is open for anyone who has questions.
Thank you very much. 75 minutes.
Just a couple of thoughts. One of them, and a couple of questions. Just a comment. You said your customer is the patients, hospital patients. I think it's really the hospitals, not the patients. Senior living homes. It's not the seniors, but the homes themselves. What is so this to me started out as being a yes, no, which is just you don't need a device for that. You can blink once, blink twice. Towards the end, I started getting it that you could configure a series of responses. Who does that configuration? So if the hospital is the customer, I imagine they do the configuration before they hand it out to one of their patients that has no mobility. Is that right?
Yes, with the programming, with AWS working up a system, and also being able to allow, if one configuration is set, being able to share that, where it's not just for that individual hospital or for that individual person that may be at home. And this, we're looking at more short term. So if you had severe laryngitis, this is not an expensive device. It's something that you could learn quickly. And so if you needed to relay, it could be something that was also at home, that you would be able to tap into AWS. What are some programs that are already out there that's already done for me? I need to go to the grocery store. I've got a grocery store list that I can tap into.
You mentioned a subscription cost of $5. Does that realize the cost of using AWS for your backend services here, or is that included in the total price of the device?
So we would probably include that in the total cost of our device. The subscription service, I guess, is more to help keep up, yes, with AWS and also for future programming, because we want to add some more menus that you would have to, to go through for different food options and things like that.
And that pricing structure specifically was just for our prototype. So if we made any of like the EEG model, it would probably be a lot more expensive than $75 to make. So that just applies to our prototype for today.
Okay, thank you very much. And a reminder, that's a team name, not just a reminder. Had to clarify that for a second.
Y'all be sure to speak up. The judges in a few minutes will just finish their scoring. That's back. This is forward. Okay?
Which needs statement?
Which needs statement?
Which one?
Cognitive impairment.
Which number?
12. Be sure you speak up.
Okay. Howdy.
Wait. Howdy. Wait. Pause. Take a breath. I know you're anxious. Good. I'm glad you're anxious. Ready. Wait a minute. Okay, now you can take it away.
Okay. Howdy.
Howdy.
Okay, we are Reminder. My name is John Paul Hernandez Alcala. I'm a senior biomedical engineer, and I was software support.
My name is Ariana Bache. I'm a general engineering major, and I was research analysis.
Hi, my name is Hector Ramirez. I'm a sophomore mechanical engineering major, and I did financial analysis for the time.
My name is Hector Sandoval. I'm a sophomore nuclear engineer, and I work in the video production.
Hi, I'm Ankit. I'm a first year grad student in electrical engineering department, and I worked on databases and the integration part.
Howdy, my name is Jesus Daniel Molina. I'm a sophomore civil engineering, and I was part of the software development. Now we will have the video.
Imagine what it'd be like to progressively forget who you are, where you are, and how did you get to the place you are in. Can you imagine how it would be to develop Alzheimer's?
Do you remember the day you were told that you had Alzheimer's? That was at the age of 43, as we mentioned. What went through your mind? How did you handle it?
Well, I have always been a fighter. So.
Do you want to get a glass of juice?
Yeah.
Can you pour one? Can you get one?
Like over here?
Yeah. Can you get a glass of juice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Alzheimer's disease affects some 5 million Americans, and over the next 30 years, that number could triple, says Dr. Risa Sperling, a neurologist at Boston's Brigham and Women's Hospital.
I think Alzheimer's disease is an epidemic. It's a true health crisis because it's so expensive, both emotionally to families and certainly to our healthcare system.
Luckily, if signs of Alzheimer's are detected early and the person's mind remains active, it could help to reduce the rapid progression of the cognitive disease. That is what Reminder is all about. Our application will autonomously remind the user about their daily task, while keeping their mind active by asking questions about the user's life. It will then generate daily reports that can be accessed by the user, or they can be sent directly to the doctor to help monitor or detect the early stages of their Alzheimer's.
Helping the world of cognition through memory, perception, problem solving, and learning. For the purpose of today's presentation, we will tackle the memory components. The cognitive impairment the three major cognitive impairments that we will focus on is ADHD, autism, and Alzheimer's. Although we realize these impairments impact millions of people, we still need to go with what is more feasible and what is more feasible for the market for us. We realize that autism and ADHD, they already have affordable memory-based treatments. However, Alzheimer's, they don't have affordable memory-based treatments. And on to our market analysis, Hector will continue on with that.
Thank you, Ariana. So as we can see in the graph, this is why we target Alzheimer's disease. Currently, we have around 5.5 million people suffering from Alzheimer's. And we expect the number to triple, as the video said, by 2050. Due to the baby boomer generation. And our primary target is to the private investors or the people who pay out of pocket to help their family members. Because we know this is a huge financial burden for the families. We want to, in the end, target the government to help save millions of dollars, which can be used for research and more innovations to help cure this disease.
So as we saw in the video, even though Chris was a fighter, Alzheimer took the best of her. And the actual video goes on to describe all the stages that she went through until she got to the last one, which is dementia. And so what we want to do here in Reminder is to provide an interface AI system that will basically remind the person that is diagnosed with Alzheimer about all the things that they have or may have forgotten, and about the daily tasks they need to do. So that they can generate a daily routine within muscle memory, so that their brain can remain active.
Now, we came up with a designer requirements mission. There's 5 different designs for voice recognition, learning algorithm, user engagement, affordability, which will range between $55 to $60, depending on what cost we will determine to our software, which $50 for the Eco Dot, and then between 5 to 10 for our software, which would be Reminder, and then automatization would be the best part of it, which will allow the user to be independent.
So depending on the requirements discussed by the John, we came up with the 3 designs. The first one was the camera-based mobile, the second is mobile app, and the third one is Eco Interactive System. But we plan to move ahead with the Eco Interactive System because it is both smarter and affordable compared to these 2.
So basically, our solution provides vocal interaction with the person that either is developing Alzheimer's, or is just someone that I want to also emphasize that it's also for anybody that feels like they're just forgetful and they want to just do any type of memory improvement. So they'll have a vocal interaction with that person. So it's going to be almost like a personal assistant that's going to help you keep track of a routine, and progressively you'll hopefully see yourself improving or see a progression of a trend in order to do an intervention. So
now we'll have a video demonstration.
Good morning, John. I hope you had a good night's sleep, but it's time to wake up. Have you woken up?
Yes.
Nice. We need to get ready. Do you know why?
No.
You have a doctor appointment at 9:45 a.m.
Now I want to talk, the only 2 components that we need for this to work would be a cellular phone. It could be either iPhone or any Android, and the Eco Dot. Since we developed a software which will be a skill for Alexa, we only need the user to download that skill into the Eco Dot, and then everything else would be set. So how it would work is the user or a family member would upload a schedule or a routine that they want for the user with Alzheimer's to follow. We're mainly targeting people that suffer from stage 1 or 2 Alzheimer's, since it only affects the daily tasks. Once you go into stage 3, that's more severe and you need professional treatment. So our plan with this design is to prevent from people to going into a faster way of going to stage 3.
So you might be wondering, why are we targeting Alzheimer's and not other dementia diseases? Well, first of all, because Reminder is very unique. Compared to our competitor, Reminder Rosie, this is more like a traditional clock that you install in your home, and it costs around $120 to $480, depending on how many rooms you want to put it in. And it only reminds you of stuff, and you have to input it manually or daily for it to give you commands, right? But Reminder, it's a one-time purchase, and ranges from $50 to $200 if you install it in 4 rooms, plus the monthly service, which runs about $5 to $10, which is inexpensive compared to Reminder Rosie. And not only that, but it interacts with the user and learns from the user, and also generates data that can be sent to physicians or loved ones so they can know how their family members are doing.
So basically, where do we see this going? So what it's going to produce is basically this report. So basically, you're going to be able to take it, look at it, and see what the progression is of your memory. So if you see that happens to be a decrease in the amount of things you remember, then you'll have that knowledge to be able to say, maybe I should do a type of intervention. Another thing that we're wanting to do with the GPS system. So say that someone wakes up in the middle of the night, they're forgetful, they don't know where they are, they leave the house, it'll alert, and it'll not only tell their family or a health code provider that they've left the house, but it'll also try to guide them back to the house so they can safely return. And then the other thing that's really important is we want to expand to other cognitive impairments, because as we showed at the very beginning, this is an issue. So that with our product, we'd like to expand to address all those, but with time, with more given time.
And something I would like to mention is, since it's software, it's going to be an application, kind of like an application on your phone. And in my personal case, I decided to join this team because my grandma who lives with me suffers from Alzheimer's. So I thought, why not make it so someone like my grandma could use it? And even though we didn't talk about the revenue, if we were to partner with Amazon and the AWS system, we would be making $64 million a year. But like I said, we're just doing this because we want to help people. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you very much. Judges, 5 minutes.
You're dealing with a lot of tracking of a person and the information's being passed. Have you looked into any of the HIPAA regulations or anything?
Yes, we did. We actually talked to Raj. He was a solution architect, and he told us that basically that service is going towards HIPAA protection and more encryption. They said they're awaiting certification, but as of now, the capability is that the user will put a password, and that password will be what keeps other people from getting it. So they have to get the password from the patient or from the person before they can access that information. So it's more of a user at this point until we get that verification, basically that certification, which he said they're working on it actively, because they're incorporating this in hospitals already. They're showing like their patients and visitors are using this to give them directions in the room. So they're wanting to get into that realm. The other thing is that we're envisioning like this home care activity. We've already seen like, I've been to a clinic basically where the doctor is seeing you by Skype from across the country. So this is kind of fitting into that like home care, remote care perspective. So
you made a claim that this would prevent phase 3. Is that right?
So it will not prevent, but it will slow down the process from going from stage 2 to stage 3.
Yes, it will not prevent. We can't say claims of prevent or anything like this, because I would consider it a medical device. A medical device, if it's trying to treat or something, and this is an FDA product. But what we're saying is that this is a tool that can provide someone information or insight into their own cognitive health, which are what the other ones lacked. Some insight into how are you doing, how are you remembering. If you go to a doctor and tell them, hey, I don't remember a lot, one of their questions will probably be like, how much do you think you're forgetting? And you're like, well, I don't really remember how much I'm forgetting. So this will be a tool that they can use, and with this learning algorithm, it may even model the progression of your Alzheimer's and be able to be used in conjunction with other treatments, so cognitive drugs and other things to help manage it. So it's part of a management system, because as of now, there is no cure for it.
And something I would like to mention is the only reason why we would be charging a monthly fee is to use the AWS cloud. So that would keep the information of how much you remember and how much you're forgetting by month or by week. It would be a matter of how you would want to do it.
So it seems to me you've said a couple of times that this system would slow down the progression, but from what I read and hear on the news, nothing has done that. So what evidence do you have?
So there's evidence because there's in a Harvard article, it cited 5 things. So some of those 5 things were like maintaining a healthy diet. So that could be a reminder to like eat certain foods, regular exercise, and then also mental challenging problems. So that could be something that's incorporated in these systems. So one thing that's going to be also in the system is we're wanting to do family facts. So it's going to ask you, hey, do you remember the name of your daughter? And it's going to be like, oh, well, the patient or the person can either say, I don't quite remember. And they'll be like, that's okay, your daughter's name is this. And they can kind of help just challenge the person, the user, to kind of fight back that basically breakdown of the brain. And so the way that I've described it is like you're kind of pushing against something that's kind of compressed on you. And the more you're using it, the more you're kind of trying to keep the brain from not getting rid of it. To try to force it to fight it as much as you can. as we said, it doesn't prevent, but it could be part of a treatment plan.
So what would you market this through? What's your marketing stream?
So I guess the way that we would market it is say that basically we have this reminder system for those people that feel like they either they forget stuff that like regularly, so they just want to keep track of their progress, or those that have familial like concerns, so they have some type of history.
How do I get hold of this?
No, it wouldn't be under the Play Store. It would be under the Amazon skill account for Alexa. So it would just go. The only reason we couldn't do it right now is because it takes 5 days for the skill to upload to the cloud. So we couldn't download it. We had to do it with Alexa in the computer. So that's how we did the presentation, the demonstration. But how it would work is you would just go to add a skill for your Alexa, and then you would just add reminder to Alexa.
And then you would just update it with whatever information you feel is that the user determines is important to them. So if they want to remember the children's name, then it's going to be in there to remind them so they know they won't forget that.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the final presentation for today. What we're going to do now is judges and I are going to retire to a conference room, have a quick discussion. We'll be back in here and we'll award first, second, and third prize. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you. by the time, I mean, you saw the amount of time that it took us to come up with the winners, and it was very, very difficult. The judges and I really had a difficult time trying to figure out what wound up happening, and everybody did such a great job throughout the, I mean, I know you hear this all the time, Rodney, this is a great job. Okay, so everybody did a great job, but my gosh, y'all really knocked it out of the park. So thank you very much. In fact, there was so much so that they twisted my arm and forced me to be able to give an honorable mention to in one of the teams. So the honorable mention team is going to get $250 per team. By the way, all of this will wind up going into your student accounts as scholarships. So you'll see it in as scholarship money, and that's why it winds up going in. So the third place team, the honorable mention team, and we're going to come up here and Greg, and then we're going to be able to take pictures with you. We'll come over here. The third place team is Third Eye. So y'all come on up. This is the honorable mention. Honorable mention. Sorry. Honorable mention. Y'all are the honorable mention. So y'all get a picture with them. Here, Jane. Then this way. Thank you. Perfect.
You want in front of the board?
Yeah, right in front of it. Come further my way, Jane. My way. Perfect. Okay. Y'all get together.
It's like just hitting
Yeah, y'all get in the picture with them.
You guys can come a little closer to get here.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much. Congratulations. We really want to see y'all take that forward. All right, the third place team, and Michael's going to give the third place award, is Team Carlisle. By the way, y'all all get Alexa dots.
And that's it.
So don't leave home without them. Don't leave here without them. All right. Congratulations. And Jane is going to hand out right here. Come a little bit further, a little bit forward. We're going to give out the second place award, and the second place award goes to Team CAPTCHA. Turn this around. Perfect. There you go. Y'all help work with Jane. There you go. Y'all get right in. You hold the check.
Okay, you guys can look up in my direction. Thank you. Yay.
All right, congratulations. Y'all all get dots too. All right, and the first place team is going to be given by one of our sponsors. Deborah has worked tirelessly behind the scenes, and most of the need statements have come from her organization and her work in this area. So, you know, tremendous amount of activity. And so Deborah's really been a great mentor and a great sponsor throughout the entire time. All right, and the first place team is Open Sesame. By the way, the checks are not cashable. I need them back. Okay, so please don't leave here without them. The first, second, and third place teams, be sure you pick up your dots. Oh, you really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, wait, we want it back, right? Revote. Okay, great.
Good job.
Awesome team. If everybody can come up here quickly, we're going to take a group shot.
We already did, Rodney.
Oh, you already did? Oh, good. Perfect. Never mind. Thank y'all very much for everything. Please help us clean up if you get a chance. Make sure everything's checked back in. Thank you very much. And whoever's ready to take this forward, take all your prototypes, stick them in my office, and we'll see you later. Y'all have a great rest of the weekend.